Welcome back to Poorly Educated Today in the News. Lord help us, because it is January 30th, 2026, and this country is holding together with duct tape, crossed fingers, and the sheer willpower of folks who ain't slept since the shutdown of 2013. I swear, if America were a pickup truck, this'd be the moment when the driver says, "Don't worry." She rattles like that when she's cold. So buckle up, grab your sweet tea, and prepare to learn everything you didn't want to know about today's chaos. Courtesy of your favorite redneck news philosopher who's barely holding it together and absolutely not smart enough for any of this. Segment 1. The National Shutdown, Minneapolis Mayhem, and Immigration Chaos. Well, let's start with the big story. The national shutdown. And by the way, ain't it something when the country says no work, no school, no shopping, and half the people shout sounds like a 4-day weekend, and the other half shout burn it all down. Students walked out, businesses shut down, and even famous people jumped in, which always makes everything real serious. Because if there's one thing that truly solves a national crisis, it's a singer posting about it on Instagram while sitting in a Lamborghini. But this all kicked off because of 2 fatal federal agent shootings in Minneapolis. First, Renee Good, a poet, got shot by ICE. And look, when poets start getting shot, you know society's going off the rails. Poets ain't known for their dangerous high-speed ambush tactics. The last time a poet caused a national panic was when some guy in high school read slam poetry about his feelings and cleared the cafeteria. Then came the real explosion, the killing of Alex Preddy on January 24th. Now Alex was an ICU nurse, which means he was a hero by default, because anyone who works in the ICU is basically running a non-stop crisis management circus while being paid in vending machine pretzels. And what was he doing that got him shot? Recording agents on his phone. Recording on his phone, which in America is more common than brushing your teeth. But officials first said he had a gun and planned a massacre. Then the video came out. And shocker of shockers, none of that was true. Turns out he was holding his phone the whole time, and not in a phone shaped like an AK-47 kind of way, but in a "this is my phone, don't shoot me" kind of way. And the agent's stories didn't match the video, didn't match each other, and probably didn't even match their own morning horoscopes. People marched, businesses shut down, high schoolers walked out. Which is honestly not that surprising, because high schoolers will walk out for anything. Long lunch lines, weird cafeteria smells, or the school trying to teach math after 2 p.m. But this time, the stakes were real, and the whole nation followed. Then California's Supreme Court Chief Justice basically said federal agents better quit lurking around courthouses like discount Batman villains. And meanwhile, the FBI rolled into Fulton County and grabbed 700 boxes of ballots like it was Black Friday at Best Buy. Nothing says trust your government like federal agents walking out with a wall of cardboard like they're moving out of a college dorm. America's not just upset, it's boiling. And if this keeps heating up, someone's gonna open the lid and discover we've boiled the whole pot dry. Segment 2. The budget breakdown and the technical shutdown nobody asked for. Now let's talk money, or as I call it, the thing I don't have. Midnight tonight, the government technically runs out of cash, again. Somehow Congress found a way to procrastinate so long that even college freshmen writing term papers are impressed. The Senate said, hey, maybe we should fund the government except for DHS, because that part of the budget is toxic enough to melt concrete. So they split the whole funding package in 2 like a couple getting divorced, but still sharing Netflix accounts. Everything except DHS gets money till September. DHS gets 2 weeks, like a bad manager on probation. The House ain't even in town. They're literally on recess. Imagine being at your job and telling your boss, "Hey, the building's on fire, but I already clocked out, so I'll see y'all Monday." That's Congress right now. Speaker Johnson hates the plan, but also loves not getting blamed for a full collapse, so he's going to pass whatever the Senate gives him. Meanwhile, President Trump hopped on Truth Social and typed up a message that basically said, "Pass the bill, or else you'll disappoint me. And if there's anything Congress fears, it's disappointing the guy who grades them like contestants on a reality show." So we get a technical shutdown, not a real shutdown, but the kind where you go to the store and the lights are half on, and someone shouts, "We ain't closed. We just ain't open neither." Federal agencies start weekend shutdown procedures, which I assume means someone throws a blanket over the computers, and the janitor turns off the lights like the government is a parakeet that needs to calm down for the night. This is where we're at. The world's biggest economy is being run like someone who pays all their bills late, but tells themselves, "I work better under pressure." Segment 3. The War Shock, Gold Meltdowns, and Microsoft losing more than Windows updates. Let's wander into the land of money exploding. President Trump nominated Kevin Warsh to run the Federal Reserve, and the markets reacted like somebody yelled fire in a movie theater full of accountants. Gold dropped so fast, you'd think it fell through a trapdoor. Silver crashed harder than a drunk man trying to ride a unicycle uphill. Gold hit almost $5,600 earlier in the week, which is ridiculous because that means my wedding ring could have paid for a small used car. Then today, it tanked 10 to 12% in a single day, which is the financial equivalent of falling down the stairs and taking half the staircase with you. Silver fell 17 to 24%, a drop so steep even roller coasters said, "Whoa, buddy, calm down. It's wiping out value faster than I wipe out when I try to ice skate." And if that wasn't enough, Microsoft dropped 10% because cloud revenue slowed down. I don't know how you slow down a cloud. They float at whatever speed they want. They're God's beanbags. But apparently investors got mad, and Microsoft lost billions faster than I lose socks in the dryer. People fled the stock market like someone turned the lights on at a bar at 2 a.m. Money ran into the US dollar, which honestly feels weird because the dollar is like that one cousin who's always in trouble but somehow never gets arrested. Meanwhile, BitGo had an IPO, PayPal bought some company, a digital Muslim bank raised $230 million, and Alpaca joined the Unicorn Club. I don't know how many banks the world needs, but apparently the answer is always one more, especially if it has a cute animal mascot. Bottom line, we're in a financial rodeo, and the bull is angry, blindfolded, and heavily caffeinated. Segment 4. The Iran standoff, the Lincoln strike group, and Turkey playing world therapist. Now let's talk about international chaos, my favorite kind, because it happens far away but still raises gas prices. The US and Iran are teetering on the edge of a full-blown fight. Trump said Iran better make a deal or face violent action, which is the kind of statement that makes diplomats clutch their pearls and military folks start polishing things. The USS Abraham Lincoln was moved from the South China Sea to the Indian Ocean, bringing F-35s and electronic warfare jets into play. That's not a friendly visit. That's, "Hey buddy, say something else and see what happens." Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said the military is prepared to deliver whatever the president expects. That sentence should come with an emotional support animal, because anything could happen next. At the same time, Iran's foreign minister is in Turkey saying we're ready for negotiations, but also ready for warfare. That's like saying, I'm ready to diet, but also ready to eat 3 cheeseburgers. Both can be true, but one's gonna win. Turkey is trying to calm everyone down, basically acting like the middle child trying to stop Thanksgiving dinner from turning into WrestleMania. They're hosting diplomatic talks, hoping to create a framework for de-escalation. A fancy way of saying, can y'all please not blow up half the planet tonight? If this goes sideways, it won't be sideways. It'll be downward, off a cliff, into a canyon full of angry scorpions. Segment 5. Storm chaos, science miracles, and sports drama. And now for the part of the news where nature tries to kill us, science tries to save us, and sports tries to distract us. First, winter storm catastrophe in the South. Mississippi alone has 14 confirmed dead, and region-wide the toll may hit 85. Power outages everywhere, roads iced over, emergency crews trying to cut through fallen trees, and half the region turning into a real-life version of when your grandma says don't go outside. It's slicker than buttered glass. Out west, California's drowning in king tides. 19-foot waves, sneaker waves, rip currents. It's so dangerous the ocean probably has a sign up saying enter at your own risk. People still go because apparently humans are incapable of reading warnings unless they're printed on a nacho bag. In environmental science, long-term research programs are dying off, which means we may lose decades of ecosystem data. And let me tell you, once scientists start complaining about missing data, the planet is already on fire somewhere. But science also brought good news: a new intranasal bird flu vaccine that could give sterilizing immunity. That means it stops the virus in your nose before it even thinks about ruining your whole week. Sepsis drug breakthroughs, heart disease research, wood-based thermal batteries that store heat, and physicists freezing superfluids into new quantum states. Which I think means we're one lab accident away from unlocking superpowers or accidentally opening a hole to the upside down. AI researchers say news needs nutrition labels because AI keeps quoting the same big outlets and ignoring everyone else. And let me tell you, if even the robots have media bias now, we are in for one weird future. On the cultural side, the Freedom 250 Grand Prix of Washington, D.C. Because nothing says celebrate America like race cars going 200 miles an hour past the Lincoln Memorial. Drivers like Graham Rahal think it's a great idea. Critics think an IndyCar engine screaming down the National Mall might be loud enough to knock the cherry blossoms right off the trees. Super Bowl 60 is Patriots versus Seahawks, young Drake May versus veteran Sam Darnold. Seattle is favored, and personally, I believe the only safe prediction is that somebody's gonna blame the refs. And finally, the unrivaled Women's Basketball League is selling out arenas and making waves. Philadelphia's event is packed, proving once again that the women's game is rising faster than my blood pressure when Congress speaks. In conclusion, January 30th, 2026 is one of those days where you wake up, check the news, and say out loud, nope. America is dealing with a nationwide shutdown led by students and workers, a Congress that's technically funding the government, but not really, a financial system having a full-on panic attack, a potential war brewing with Iran, storms tearing up the South, waves swallowing the West Coast, and scientists yelling, please don't delete the data. We actually need that. And through it all, everyday Americans are just trying to get through the week, drink their coffee, shovel their driveways, and hope the next headline doesn't involve the phrase breaking, unprecedented, or catastrophic. This has been poorly educated today in the news, and if you understood even half of that, congratulations. You're officially smarter than the entire federal government combined.